All right. Here we go back again. The other side of the coin in the Brown Excellence episode, segment, whatever you want to call it. This is our proper second episode. As you can see, a couple of the other partners in crime are not here. Shyam has some work commitment, and Vivek, as you guys probably already know, he's deactivated from football Twitter just for the time being, I believe. He's got some personal things that he's taking care of, so he's not available for that either. So it's myself and my man Kamal here. We're going to bring the thunder. We're going to bring the storm today.
Yes,
how you doing, Kamal?
yes. Great, man. I say great. These last two defeats have kind of set me back a little bit based on last week's episode. You know, I was like, we're going to win the league, and now kind of been brought back to earth a little bit. So let's see how we can get through this. It's going to be therapeutic, I'm sure, but...
you know what? This is exactly what I'm hoping for, that it's therapeutic, not just for us, for our fans as well. Right. You know, it's so true, Kamal. We just spoke about a week ago about the Everton game and how we're thinking we should go out there and really win, 3-0, whatever the case
right.
is. We'll talk about Richarlison and, this and that, and then we lost that, and then we lost against Wolves as well. We've quickly gone from being title contenders to can we make the top four?
Right, exactly. It's the best thing about being football fans, isn't it? It's ups and downs all the time. But at least we're not Arsenal. That's what I keep saying.
Oh man, that club's in absolute shambles. Now, look, today's program, what we're going to talk about, just so that everyone kind of knows before they start watching this, we'll talk about Timo Werner. We'll talk about Havertz's, their forms. Let's, as the particular thumbnail shows here, and the title of this particular video today is "Let's Be Real," right? So let's not beat around the bush, and be honest, don't put around the bush. Let's not beat around the bush, and let's be absolutely honest here that these guys have not been good. They've not been good. In fact, they've been rubbish. All right, so let's be honest about that. So we're going to talk about Havertz's and Timo Werner and exactly what's going on, and try and analyze at our best what are some of the things that's happening. What can we do moving forward? And then we want to talk about Frank Lampard as well. In the last couple of games, once again, let's be honest, Frank Lampard's in-game management, his substitutions, his tactics as well, it's just cross and hope. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I don't think that's been effective at all. So first of all, let's crack on with, let's talk about Timo Werner. Yeah, Kamal? Let's start with Timo Werner. For me, Kamal, Timo Werner for the past, not even 2-3 games, I'd even say at least 5-6 games, he's been off. Probably since he came back from that Germany heavy defeat against Spain, he's been off, right? It's been very well documented. His first touches have been sloppy. When he tries to take his man on, it's not great. His judgment has been poor as well. His movement hasn't been the greatest at times. Goal scoring has absolutely disappeared over the last 8 games. I believe he's been not scoring at all. Yeah, he's chipped in with a couple of assists here and there. Like, the thing I like about Timo is at least his attitude hasn't been bad. Like, he tries to rectify the situation. He comes back harder. But come on, a lot of people have been talking about that. It's because he's been playing in the wings, right? And what I want to ask you is that, but what about the basics? Yes, he's been playing in the wings, but he's been playing in the wings anyway. Like, he always roams around. What about the basics that are just disappearing away from his game? Thoughts on that?
I think it's tough, because I do think playing out of his natural position, it does play part of an effect too. He's being asked to do things he's probably never done before. I think we discussed it last week, that you play him on the wing and he has to track back. He's been tracking back a lot, and he's going against fullbacks and wingers that are physically just something he's never competed against in his life. Let's be real. Like, Bundesliga, they don't have those kind of consistent, wingers like throughout the 1 to 18 teams that they have. So playing out of position, having to work more, and let's be real now. I think every Chelsea fan can admit and can notice he needs a break. It's so obvious. He needs a good. I don't know how long it is, a week or two, but he needs a consistent break. And every time Lampard's tried to give him one, someone's got hurt. So he's being sacrificed. It's like he has no choice but to play Timo Werner, and he has to play him in a position that he's not comfortable in playing in the first place. So all those things, adding up, and I'm sure he won't admit it, but missing those few chances he did against Newcastle, I forget who the other team was. There's back-to-back games where he missed some pretty easy chances. They're probably playing with his head a little bit. So he's probably overthinking now. He's probably going through that. It's human nature. You overthink things when things aren't going right. You're saying, what do I need to do differently? And maybe he's trying too hard as opposed to letting the game come naturally to him, like he was earlier in the season. So it's probably a combination of all those 2-3 things just piling on. Fatigue for sure. He's used to a winter break coming up. He's not going to get that now.
Very good point.
So he's used to waiting for that to come. He's not going to get that at all now. He's going into the busiest period in football worldwide. There's a lot of things that are just going against him right now, and I'm sure he just needs a rest, in my opinion, because we all know what he's capable of, and all those things are messing with his head. I think his passing's been wayward. I'm not going to question his effort because you can tell he's trying. It's just not coming off. And he looks just beat. He just looks so fatigued. You can kind of tell by his body language that in the Wolves game there was towards the end where he just looked like I can't keep going anymore. That's the impression I got. It was towards the end when Thiago Silva kind of ripped into him. I don't know if you saw that. There was a little.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, Thiago went at him. Was like, come on, being a captain, and he was just he was out of it, and he just needs a break, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, definitely, I'm not gonna argue with the fact that he needs a break. I think it's due to the circumstances, as you said, that we've got so many players that are injured in key areas that he's just being, forced to play. But my issue in recent times has been that just some basic stuff like composure. Do you know what I mean? Like, look, I don't expect him to go out there and score every game. That's not the expectation. But be composed. I don't know if it could be due to the mental fatigue here. The fatigue doesn't necessarily always have to be physical fatigue. It could be the mental fatigue that is just mentally drained out. As you said, that he's been playing so many games in a stretch, plays for Germany as well in international. But what I've noticed in the last few matches in the passage that he tries to snap at the shot. He gets he gets into really nice situations. There was I don't know if you remember recently, Mason Mount came out after the match and he said that at halftime he went up to Timo and said, Timo, you got to finish those sort of chances. You finish them in the training ground. You got to finish that in the matches as well. And I remember that particular chance was a snapshot. Like he just needed to be composed. He just needed to just hold on. He has the time. The thing about Timo is that he's so quick that he's always got time. But it feels like he just rushes into it. Like he's such a he's got this dynamic sense about him that he rushes into it, then he snaps at it, and he lacks the precision. He lacks the. You've seen the goal recently. There's a clip that's gone around in football Twitter about how he scored against Tottenham. How he takes the ball, great first touch, sets himself up, and then smashes the shot. Right, and that honestly, it's not that long ago. Like literally, 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. So I don't know. Maybe Kamal, perhaps you're right. Just have a break. Do what you need to do in the training ground. Feel good about yourself. But here's a question for you now, Kamal. Though, if he is taking it, we've got the question here: does Kai Havertz's and Timo Werner need to be dropped? Right? If we drop Timo Werner, how do you set up that front line? How do you play? Let's say against West Ham, how do you actually play?
That's such a tough question because we're short of numbers, right? So it comes back to that. You have to kind of force the issue. It's kind of, I mean, do you actually still drop him regardless? If you really want to, I guess Pulisic goes on the left, and then your question goes on to after who plays on the right. I mean, do you play Mason Mount on the wing? Do you play him on the right? I mean, it's something no Chelsea fan really wants to see. Let's be real. And then we're going to get onto the player next. It's Kai Havertz. Do we play him on the wing? And he's clearly not, comfortable there either. So it's you're risking one of two things. You're risking consistently playing Timo out of position. We say out of position, but he plays off the left with like a striker up top, but not fully on the wing like he is now. Play him out of position, play him in a place he's not comfortable in a league he's new to, where he's clearly, his confidence is just clearly shot. So all those things factor against him, but you're forced to do it. So you're kind of pushing him like, hey, come on, like just suck it up kind of thing and try and get through it. So I think personally we play Timo up front, or we drop him and we play Pulisic on the left. Just
Someone
to give
just commented here, Kamal, Anirudh, who's thank you, Anirudh, for joining. First of all, he's always interacting and is very respectful on social media. He's just basically commented that play Timo at his natural position, and maybe perhaps that might be his. I know we talk about resting, and we've been talking about him being rested, but perhaps it's just reverting him back to his natural position, playing the forward position. And I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kamal, there was some information that when he first joined Chelsea and when he got the phone call from Frank Lampard actually sold him the whole idea that you're going to be my man in the middle. And that's what Timo wanted to play. He wanted to play in the middle. And this is a story that's been well documented. It's been said by many people that that's exactly where he wants to play. Now, if that's the case, Kamal, here's a question for you. How do you drop someone like Olivier Giroud, who's been scoring most of our goals? So I had a conversation with somebody on football Twitter. I'm not sure if you remember, like Harrysaratov. I had a conversation with him. He's a great guy. I had a conversation with him privately, and we're kind of both in the agreement that this Olivier Giroud's form is kind of like a curse in disguise. Because, okay, he's been scoring goals, but systematically, he probably doesn't fit what Lampard's trying to do. And I'm sure we'll get into it later on. But, you kind of, earlier this season, with Tammy Abraham and Timo Werner playing together, our football was outstanding. They were scoring goals, assisting for each other, and we were winning games. And then Olivier Giroud comes in. Unfortunately, he's scoring goals, but we're losing games or we're drawing games. It's not... it's not his fault. He's doing his job. He's scoring goals. But, as the team as a whole, you're not performing and you're not playing how you want to play. So it's kind of, he's being a detriment, but also a blessing because he's scoring goals. So it's a tough thing. But if Frank Lampard's thinking, okay, my system is the most important thing, then I'm sorry, you unfortunately have to be like Giroud. Unfortunately, I know you're scoring goals and it's not really your fault, but we're trying to do something that's bigger here. It's bigger, bigger picture. I'll give you your chances, but all hell will break loose.
I know.
Will come out with a knife and say, "What does my player have to do? He's been scoring all your goals.
Be 10 years younger and add 10 miles an hour more pace. It's nothing against Giroud. It's just how he plays. And Tammy Abraham and Werner seem to have this connection and seem to have this kind of chemistry with each other that just works. We saw it earlier. It just seems so concise with each other. It just seems to work perfectly. So unfortunately, if I'm Lampard, I go back to what was working and see if it works again.
Nah, absolutely, man. Before we get into how we want to set up against West Ham, just in the front, let's talk about Havertz's now. We talked a little bit about Timo Werner. Mental fatigue perhaps is the issue. Perhaps the issue is not playing in centre forward area, and a whole other sort of components that go with it. Havertz's. Havertz's for me, man, honestly, I've done some clips of Havertz's literally not that long ago, and I was just going through and looking at some of those clips. I don't know if you remember, there's several clips where he gets the ball from midfield and he drives centrally through and literally just pierces a dagger through the opposition midfield. And I've got at least 3 or 4 clips like that saved in my computer under Chelsea, obviously, when he's joined with us. And then since the illness, the word that we can't say in YouTube, since the illness, he comes back. There's none of that drive, basic passing. He's just slow overall. Everything he does is slow. Now, I get it. He's had that illness. And he's been back and Frank's been playing him. How much of this really should be Frank's fault that don't use him then if you know that he's not up to it? But you know what Frank says always, right, Kamal, that if they train well, then they start. So I'm thinking he's probably training well. So what's going on in here, Kamal? What's the issue with Kai Havertz's at the moment?
I think it's a mixture of two things. I think personally the illness was a lot. I think his symptoms were a lot worse than what casual fans think they were. I think they were severe, and then probably not. I know Frank Lampard's come out and said that they were bad, but I think they were probably a lot worse than we assumed they would. Just he looks so off the pace, and there was a clip that I use in reference to me, like my friends when I have this conversation as well. Is Paul Pogba. Pogba had COVID-19 as well, and there was a clip where he was playing against. Christ, I forget who it was, but he tries to knock it past the player he's against and tries running past him, and he was so off it. Like, Pogba normally wins that 9 out of 10 times, and he was just like, okay, like my body's letting me down. And it seems the same way with Kai Havertz's. He's just like, he knows his body's just not up to it. And I know he's been back in training and 2 weeks isolation and so on and so forth, but to build up back to what match speed is a different matter. And to touch on your point about training, we can say it all day long, but training is one thing, but going against a full environment in the Premier League is completely different. So in training, he probably looks great. There's no denying it. And Frank Lampard probably thinks he's good enough to go. But two things, rotation with the games coming up. He started a lot of games, and Kovacic just kind of come off the bench. But it's clear that Kai Havertz, in my opinion anyway, is just not physically there. I think he's going to take a lot of time. And on top of that, playing him as an 8 when he's more comfortable as a 10, perhaps. Playing him in a league where he's not used to. Opposition he's not used to. Similar things that we talked about with Timo Werner. But more so because the physical side of things, I think he's just severely lacking from a fitness point of view. I think he's going to take a long time to get back to what we expect him to be. Because we know how good he is. And I know he bagged goals against Barnsley or whoever the team was. But I know
even after that, Kamal, there was moments where he was still assisting, he was running hard. There's so many clips, as I said, that he tracks back, he makes a slide tackle, wins the ball back. So all of that sort of disappeared. So
question for you is, in those clips, in those matches, you recall whether he was playing as an 8, whether he was playing as a winger or playing as a 10?
Very, very good question. I was hoping you'd say that. He was actually playing as an 8. He was one of the he was playing alongside Ziyech. So Ziyech would play on the right. And this is a topic we should probably get into because it's that tactical. I think not having Ziyech, and I've tweeted this recently.
Massive.
Ziyech is honestly the key to Timo Werner and Kai Havertz's success.
100%.
Whether people like it or not, they need to understand if Werner and Kai Havertz need to be success in this football club, Ziyech is going to be in the root of all of this because when Kai plays in that number 8 role in the right centre mid and Ziyech plays in the wing, what happens is Ziyech sometimes drops deep and helps out with the ball playing, and then it allows Kai Havertz to roam around in midfield and sometimes drift in the wing because defenders are focused on Ziyech. So he's opening doors up for Kai Havertz. So then, Ziyech will find a pass to Kai Havertz and Kai Havertz will find, the ball, the space. Or what happens is Kai drops deep to help with the build-up, and Ziyech then drops in midfield, and you see the intricate passes. There's a clip I not that long ago tweeted where Ziyech passes first time to Kai. Kai then lays it back to him. Ziyech passes it back to Kai, and it's just one-touch passing, and they're just maneuvering themselves out of the midfield, and then all of a sudden they're in the attacking half attacking third. So this could be the other issue, that not having Ziyech is really hampering the fluidity. So question back to you now. Does Kai Havertz win his position back from the bench? Like, do you think Kovacic utterly deserves to keep starting and Kai Havertz just needs to win back positions from the bench?
Yeah, as of right now, if we're being real, it's a results-based business, and in order to get the results done, Kovacic has to start. It's just flat out. Frank Lampard can try, trotting out Kai Havertz every game, but in order to try and build up his confidence. But if we're honest, we don't have that kind of time. We just don't have. If it was games against lesser opposition, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, fine, let him start. In Premier League games where we need points and we want to contend for the title, we can't take those risks. Kovacic is a safer option, and he's been phenomenal of late as well. He's been absolutely incredible. So you just don't do it, in my opinion. So I think it's probably best for Kai Havertz too. So get a little run out, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, towards the end of the game when opposition are tired.
Give it all. Just give it absolute all.
Exactly. Give it everything he's got. When opposition are tired, and then hopefully by then, you're already winning the game. That's the aim. That's the hope. So he doesn't have the pressure on to kind of change things by himself and kind of put that pressure on himself. Like, okay, it's a draw right now. It's 0-0. I have to come on and make something happen. That's a lot of pressure on himself. So hopefully he gets a run out off the bench. In my opinion, he has to. It's good for the team. It's good for him. It just makes so much sense.
No, absolutely. There's a really good comment from Adnan here. I'll just bring it up again. He was saying, I think Werner needs to sit on the bench for a while. The same treatment Lampard gave up. I thought he was talking about Kai Havertz as well. But I think this relates to Kai Havertz, in my opinion, in the sense that Pulisic, as you recall, Kamal, I think I commented in one of your tweets in recent times that Pulisic got the treatment that he had to win his position back. And I think someone like Kai Havertz now really needs to win his position back and not just get a free ride in this whole situation. All right, that's enough about Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. I did say that I want to ask you one question about this. Against West Ham, how do you set up the front line and the midfield? Don't give me the whole, lineup. Just tell me how you set up. Do you start Werner? Do you start Kai Havertz? How are you going to set up?
So personally, I do start Werner. I go back to what was working. Like we just discussed, I go to Tammy, Werner, and Pulisic actually. I start Pulisic on the left, and because he just needs to start on the left. No discussion about it. He just needs to play on the left, and they can interchange at times, but predominantly Pulisic on the left, Timo Werner on the right. We saw what happened with that assist that Werner gave to Pulisic right at the death against Leeds. Yeah, it could work. Devastating pace on the counter.
100% work. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Midfield, do you play Kai Havertz or Mason Mount, Kante, and Kovacic?
Yep, the second option, Mount, Kovacic, and Kante for sure, 100%.
Here's my twist, though. I would actually revert Timo Werner back into centre forward position, Pulisic left wing, Anjorin. I know a lot of people are going to laugh at me. Why Anjorin? Why not Anjorin? Why not? Let's play Anjorin. He was decent against... No, actually, he was more than decent in the second half against Krasnodar. He put in some really fine passes. There was one, as we recall, he did one for Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz should have finished that. Why not have Pulisic, Timo Werner, and Anjorin full of pace, full of robust? Because as much as I think Tammy probably deserves to probably get a game now, I get that. But I just want Timo Werner to feel back to his natural positioning and just feel that I'm back again and I don't have to play in the right side. But 100% understand what you're saying as well, Kamal, that Timo Werner 100% can play right side as well. As you said, he's got that assist for Pulisic not that long ago. Lovely ball from Kovacic from midfield as well to find that through ball, releasing Timo Werner. But I don't know how much space West Ham's going to give us. This is why I wouldn't mind having Pulisic, Timo Werner, and Anjorin. But we'll see what happens. Let's now talk about Frank Lampard. There's a lot of conversation happening in our last couple of games where I'm pretty sure, Kamal, you've noticed our tactics have been predominantly cross and hope. Let's just, hope that someone will header it in. And I find that kind of style such a low percentage way of playing. Our counter-attack goal that Pedro Neto scored, I don't know if you saw just this, UK late night, my morning. I showed that the phase of play just before Neto scored was Chilwell intercepted the ball. He passed it to Mason Mount. Mason Mount saw some activity happening in midfield, but he completely disregarded that and went back to Chilwell into the wings, because I think that's the instructions given to the team. Go wide. Chilwell gets the ball. Chilwell then puts in a very poor cross. He had all that space and time, and he hit the first man. But that cross honestly had Tammy Abraham surrounded by 4 Wolves defenders. And Timo Werner was just behind Tammy Abraham. Let's face it, Timo Werner is not scoring a header goal in those situations. And let's also face it, let's be real, like this show right here. Tammy Abraham's weakest attribute is heading. He's not scoring a header goal against those Wolves defenders. Anyway, that cross doesn't get through. It gets intercepted. They break through the middle because all our midfielders, for some reason, on the 95th minute, thought they'll rush into the box, leaving nothing in the midfield. Wolves then go off into counter-attack, and we know what happened after that. It was a goal from Pedro Neto. What I want to ask you, Kamal, is why? Why this tactic? Do we not have the talent? I know Ziyech is absent, but do we not have the talent to play through the middle? What's your thoughts?
We absolutely do have the talent. So I guess this is, like you said, let's be real. It's brainless. It makes no sense. And in recent games, it's been evident that just pass to Reece James, pass to Chilwell, cross. They have between them like 600 crosses a game, and statistically, like you said, Giroud may bang one, but it's not sustainable. Especially when you're going up against top defenders. And let's be real, Wolves had top defenders at the back. They do, they're no joke. And they're playing 3 at the back as well. So you're going 3 against 1. You're hoping that something comes off. Okay, Giroud did score, but statistically, again, out of how many crosses we put in the box, how many did he get the end of? So I don't understand why this is a constant thing. I don't know if he's trying to replicate, the fast attack of the Liverpool model, where it's just Trent and Alexander-Arnold, just copycat, just bomb down the wings, full pace. But it's just not going to work because they have a lot of more intangibles than we do when it comes to the high press or that kind of stuff.
Their forwards can actually header as well. Like, let's face it, Mane is a very good header of the ball. Firmino, I don't know if you saw what he did against Spurs this morning. Firmino with the final header to win the game.
He did it against us.
He did it against us. And the way Liverpool, they rush the box. Exactly. They don't just wait for us. Like, they know the delivery is going to be sweet, and they just absolutely force into the box. We go into the box after when everything happens. So
right. No, it's strange. I tried to put my finger on it all the time, and I don't understand why there's no build-up play in the middle. I don't know why there's any movement. It's so static. It's literally, like you said earlier, it's Mason Mount gets the ball, turns around, looks for the wide man, gives it to him. And there's no 1-2s. There's no interchanging passes. I didn't see Kai Havertz's go on the left at all. He stayed on the right the whole game. Same with Mason Mount. You didn't really see him drift or Kai Havertz's drift. No free roam ability. No creative movement. 0 key passes. The logic, I don't understand. And it's evident that Lampard is wanting to do this straight, utilize Reece James, utilize Ben Chilwell, and it's not going to work because, again, statistically, it's not going to work all the time. And on top of that, you're going to get, like you just mentioned again, smacked on the counter because your fullbacks are so high up the pitch. And they've been running all game long, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, they're freaks of athletes when it comes to fitness. But at the same time, all it takes is that one break and it's game over, like we saw. And we can get into how we consider that goal. I think, personally, Zuma was a lot at fault. He had Neto covered, and I don't know why he didn't. And we can also say Mendy could have possibly saved it.
Too much space to Neto.
Exactly.
Way too much. I just want to circle back on one thing with you, Kamal. I feel like there was a false sense of belief that this crossing thing is going to work game in, game out. And it happened because of that Leeds game. We scored our equalising goal off the back of a Reece James really nice cross, and Giroud puts that leg in. 100% fantastic finish. He gets that goal. But Leeds are not Everton, and Leeds are not Wolves. Leeds leak goals. They leak a lot of goals. And you'll notice Leeds leak a lot of goals through crossing and set pieces. They are not good at that. West Ham beat them last match, just before this one. Obviously, Leeds went and beat Newcastle. West Ham beat them with proper first one. I think it was an equalizer from Soucek from a corner. He just towered up and headed it. Leeds are not great with crossing. So that strategy probably could work with Leeds. Cross it in and let's hope, because you could probably beat them because they're not structured well enough to defend that. Maybe.
Right.
Everton and Wolves are not going to buy that game plan because they're too good for that. Their defenders are too good for that. You're going to break them through the center. Everton have been struggling in recent times because their midfield collapses. Teams have been finding ways through the middle. Burnley, I don't know if you noticed, there was a 1-1 draw between Everton and Burnley, right? Brady they went straight through. Alan made a mistake in the midfield. The ball fell for Brady, and Brady smashed it first time. And he scored because Pickford, as we know, is suspect massively with the long-range shots. And this is one thing I feel like we did not test Pickford at all. What did we discuss last week? We were like, all right, we need to pepper the box, crosses, shots. We didn't do any of that. It was literally playing into, they set up perfectly. Yeah, exactly. They knew how to nullify us. It's like, all right, let's just block off the wings and let's make them beat us through the middle. And they didn't. And we didn't do anything at all back to that. It was just literally repeat, Chilwell, Reece James all over again. Cross, hope something happens. And obviously it didn't. So I'm not sure why he's going away from this. And like I said earlier, I think it's the whole Giroud thing again. We're playing into Giroud's strengths as opposed to the team strengths. Yeah. So we know Giroud's good in the air and he can get on the end of crosses better than anyone in the league, in my opinion. So it's use him the best you can with the best crosser in the world in Reece James and the best fullback in the league in Chilwell, as opposed to using the team strength, which is playing in intricate passes through the middle, 1-2s, Tammy Abraham, Timo Werner. We went away from that. I want to take you back on the game where Giroud scored 4 goals against Sevilla. And I want you to recall his first 2 goals that he scored. First one was a drive through the middle by Havertz's and laying it off nicely for Giroud, and Giroud scoring. Second one, it was a beautiful ball from Kovacic through the middle, piercing it through, and Giroud taking it on the right and then flicking it with his right leg. It's not like Giroud can't play through the middle. Like, I don't understand why Frank has got this ideology that Giroud's just a header. That's all he's going to do. He's just going to bomb in the cross. Try and play him through the middle. There were so many goals, you'll recall, post-lockdown last season where intricate game plays and Giroud has scored through the middle. Mount puts those clinical passes through the middle. Barkley as well puts some clinical passes through the middle. Pedro put some clinical passes through the middle. Playing through the middle, penetrating through the middle, honestly, it rattles the dying, it really, I can't say the word because it'll be scary, but it rattles the opposition a lot. It rattles the opposition. It's so simple and easy to defend from the crosses because defenders, it's structured. They just hang back, leap up. But if it's through the middle, they get pulled out of position. They have to go out there, and then you can easily have some movement and play the 1-2 passes, open up space. So I don't know what happened all of a sudden. They just think that, Giroud starts, so we're just going to have to bomb in the crosses because here's a question for you, man.
Yeah.
If Giroud's starting for West Ham and we're doing the crosses, I'm telling you, we're going to get slapped. West Ham will defend that all day long and they'll counter us and beat us 3-0.
100%. Ogbonna will have him in his pocket, and then Declan Rice is just going to clean up the mid. Declan Rice always performs against Chelsea. If you notice, like the last 2 years, this is the team he loves the most, so he's going to perform. And he's putting on an audition. Let's be real, like the agenda's on. So he's going to be like, all right, a couple months, is what next month I could probably sign for this team. So let me show out. Exactly. Like that, jokes aside, Declan Rice, he's gonna be up for it. Everyone's gonna be up for it, and I think Michael Antonio's back as well. So the Chelsea destroyer. So like it's all coming full circle for us. No, neither am I. Last week I said we're going to win the league. La la la.
No, from winning the league to West Ham.
Against West Ham. West Ham are above us right now, are they not?
Nah, we're 6th. So they.
I think they're beat us behind.
Hey, funny story for everyone. I don't know if you recall, Declan Rice DM'd me last season when
I remember.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah,
there was a conversation with Alex Goldberg, and I said to Alex Goldberg that, Declan Rice is coming in. That would mean, Hamperd. Hamperd got loaned out, and I said that's 100% Declan Rice now coming in because Hamperd got loaned out, and Declan Rice liked my comment.
I recall, and it blew up. I remember.
It blew up because I woke up in the morning. I'm like, what the hell is this? Declan Rice.
I remember.
What's going on? So I then posted it saying, Declan Rice liked my comment. He's definitely coming to Chelsea, right? So he DM'd me saying, man, no, that's not it.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. I was just looking through what the fans were saying. I completely respect Ampadu and all that. Anyway, so now he's in my DM because he's opened up the DM, right? So I DM him every now and then. He never replies back to me. So I DM'd him this morning saying, Declan, man, if you ever have the heart, just reply me one time. Can you just allow us the 3 points? I can't take another look. Please allow us.
3 in a row. 3 in a row. I'll lose my mind.
Oh, man.
I won't be able to take that.
I don't know, man. If it's 3 in a row, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good.
Of course not, because we got Arsenal right after that, and Arsenal. This is what's going to happen, right? We're gonna draw or win against West Ham, and we're going to get into a false sense of security, and then Arsenal. Let's be real, right? Arteta, the only team Arteta performs against is us. So, and Arsenal historically Chelsea are the charity team of the league, right? So we're going to have, they're 15th, 16th. They'll play us.
Come on, us. Give you 3
I tweeted it. It was their first 1 win in 7 before playing us. They play us, then win.
Wolves didn't score for 2 games.
Exactly. I tweeted that too. Scored against us. And then, Arsenal, they're going to be 15th, 16th. They play
Arsenal. Us. We don't want you to be relegated. Just come on, play against us.
Exactly. So, and then Man City right after that. This is going to be. I don't know how I'm going to cope if we drop any of these points.
I want to now talk about another thing. We've talked about the whole tactics of crossing and hoping. Sure. Frank stopped that. It's a low percentage style of playing football. In-game management. We're going to wrap things up very soon. Frank Lampard, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not being. What's the word? Harsh here. I'm being real. This is the episode. I'm being real. I feel like Frank Lampard, in most of the games that we've played so far, even in our unbeaten streak of that 17 games, maybe there might have been 1 or 2 games where I felt, okay, Frank deserves the credit there because he changed the game. But for me, overall, Kamal, man, I don't know how much he impacts the game on a regular basis. I really don't know how many times I've seen him that's a substitution that changed the game for Frank Lampard, or that's a tactical change that Frank did mid-game that changed the game. Right. I honestly cannot recall too many instances like that. I feel like he just flows with the wind. He just goes on. His subs to me, man, even last one, Giroud for Tammy. I mean, what are we expecting from that sub? You take off Giroud to bring in Tammy. What do we expect? Bring on Billy Gilmore because the game was end-to-end. Perhaps someone like Billy Gilmore controls the game and stops it from being end-to-end and probably has that midfield control, and his distribution will allow our wingers to get into the game. I don't know. Maybe that could have been a bit different. Do you know what I mean? Take off Kai Havertz's and take off Mason Mount and bring in Billy Gilmore. Take off Kai Havertz's and bring in Kovacic. Do something different. What's your thoughts around the whole in-game management, man? Your perspective on it?
Yeah, it's tough because I won't lie. There was some times last season when I thought, okay, he did the right thing. There were some games where we were losing, or there was a few nuances here and there where we were struggling. And I do recall. I'm not gonna lie, I don't recall the games and the players themselves, but there were a handful of times where I was like, okay, Frank Lampard got this 100% spot on when it came to substitutions and stuff like that. But again, we're talking about a handful out of a season and a half. So yeah, you're on the whole grand scheme of things. You're right. It's not ideal. He does a lot of things that don't really make sense. Exactly like you said. Tammy, the sub, made no sense at the time. The funny thing is, I was talking to a friend, and I would have matched them with the 3 at the back because they were overwhelming them. Yeah. Half time, I would have been like, okay, Azpilicueta, you go on, and we play 3 at the back and counter them too. And so, you put Kante alongside perhaps a Billy Gilmore or drop Mason Mount in there too. So that's just what I was thinking at the time. But there's 2 things. He takes so long for his subs as well. I feel like he's like, okay, well, we can get something out of it. We can get something out of it. And then it's just way too late. And he's just like, okay, I'm going to give you 10, 15 minutes to change the game. And at that point, it's not enough time for a substitution to get there, to get a feel of the game and impact it. Of course, subs most of the time don't really have a great impact because there's just not enough time. But I feel like Lampard takes too long. I haven't seen any change in system, like a plan B, where we're going, all right, we're going to change the formation, we're going to switch players around. It just doesn't really happen. It's just like for like subs. It's really
even put Havertz's as a 10, like bring him more centrally. If he's not working in the wing, he's not working as a number 8. Change it. Put Mason Mount alongside Kante and just put Kai Havertz in the middle. You know what I mean? And play with Timo Werner and Pulisic and Giroud up front. And perhaps then Kai can distribute. We lack the distribution.
Right. Yeah, no, there's so many things we could have done. Like playing, I feel like he's not really playing to the player's strengths right now. I do think part of that is due to limitations of the squad because of injury. So I'm not going to give full blame on Frank, obviously. But Frank does deserve a lot of kind of criticism and kind of, harsh questions because Pulisic was fantastic on the left that entire game. And then he puts him on the right and the entire fan base imploded because we saw the results of it. It was like, why? What are you doing? What's the logic? I have no idea. He was fantastic on the left. He went onto the right and was completely phased out. He barely touched the ball the second half.
It was our only threat in the first half. He was something. He was taking players on.
Yep.
And then let's reward him by putting him on the right.
Yeah. No, the thought process, I'm not really sure. I think he was just trying to be like, hey, let's get Timo on the ball, perhaps. Timo's on the right, not doing anything. Maybe put him on the left where it's a bit more comfortable too. So again, like we discussed earlier, it's like you're sacrificing one for the other. So it's not really, nothing's really working. So someone has to take the lick. And whether it's Pulisic or Werner, Kai, someone's being played out of position just because we have to. But yeah, I don't understand the concept of switching something that's working so well. If Pulisic is working so well, don't take him out, put him on the right, just to help Werner out. Take Werner off. Try something else. Do something. I don't know. But these next couple games are going to be really telling for me. I've always been skeptical on Frank, as we know, we've talked personally. I've always been like, hey, I love the guy, obviously. Who doesn't love Frank Lampard? But, we've always kind of had... I guarantee you there's not one Chelsea fan who can say fully 100% this guy is a tactical genius and we're going to be completely fine. There's times where every Chelsea fan is like, does he have, that little thing about it?
I don't know, was it you or someone in recent times? I had this conversation saying Frank Lampard to me is a very big influencer. I feel like, I can't remember who I had this conversation with, but anyway, I was saying that he's got similar influencing sort of levels like someone like Zinedine Zidane. You know how like players out there like Hazard, I want to play for Zinedine Zidane. Right. Age players now saying, I want to play for Frank Lampard. Like, you got your Kai Havertz, your Timo Werners, Ziyech, all of these players, they want to play for Frank Lampard because they grew up seeing Frank Lampard. So I feel like he's a great influencer. He's a great man manager. Like, he'll probably talk to you and, give you a good sort of wise words towards you. But I honestly don't know how much of a tactical manager he is. Like, I don't know how much of a game changer he is in the game. Like, I feel like sometimes he's watching the game and you just see him on the sideline with his hands crossed like this, and he's just watching. Like, I don't know if he's got that capability of going, you know what? Yeah, we started with a 4-3-3, but it ain't working this game. It ain't working.
Right.
Switch to two double pivot. I'm going to switch to I don't know, whatever, as you said, 3-4-3, match Wolves, bring Aspilicueta in, his leader, bring something different, do something outrageous. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, one, he's not, I don't think he's, I barely have seen him be proactive from the sidelines. And also when he's reactive, I don't think he's been reactive quick enough. Like, I don't mind if you're a reactive manager. I don't mind if you're a reactive manager. Just react quick. React quick.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, like, don't react, as you said, substitutions, 75th minute. What's that going to do for us?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So,
no, you're right, because you look at, I don't think Frank Lampard's ever going to be the type where he brings on, like you remember Jose Mourinho, brings on Matic and then takes him off, or subs three guys at halftime. You know, Frank Lampard's never going to be that kind of guy. And it could be down to experience. You know, he's only, 2.5 seasons in. That comment right there triggered me. I can't respond to that.
To bring it up from the
come on.
Nice comment, man. Love to shake better than Havertz's. That's it. We want some controversy. That's the way we like it.
Of course. Like, I love Ruben, man. I've got a man crush on the guy, but is he better than Havertz's? No, he's not. Let's be real. but yeah, you know, I mean, I do think it's partly down to inexperience. 2.5 years in his whole managerial career. You know, he was only a bit part coach before that. You know, with the academy guys. So with time, maybe it comes. You know, I was discussing someone today. I think again it was Harry. Sorry to mention him again, but he mentioned today that, you know, we compared to Klopp, right? And you know, you look at Klopp, and he was prior to his success, he was there for 4 years, not winning a single thing. So I do think we have to give Frank time overall, but he's got the investment now. So it's just a question of seeing improvement from the system, seeing improvement overall. And I do think these injuries are like hampering us big time. I do think if Ziyech was fit and Cho as a rotational winger and so on and so forth, I don't think I don't think we have this conversation. I think we're back to what we were last week, where we're like, yeah, we've got this, we're going to win the league and stuff like that. So who knows?
You're right. No, you're absolutely right, man. I think definitely Ziyech, if he's fit, I don't think we'd be in this predicament. But nonetheless, that pretty much wraps it all up, man. Just some final thoughts before we just finish things off. How confident are you against West Ham, man? No, Ziyech.
Ziyech and Cho are not going to be ready, I don't think. Confidence. I hate to be pessimistic, but I'm not. Because I haven't seen West Ham this good ever, and that's just being real. I mean, David Moyes has got them playing some decent football, and the table doesn't lie.
Counting this to be one of the best West Ham team ever.
Exactly. I mean, I don't recall in all my years of watching football that West Ham have ever been this competitive, and they're tough. They love playing against Chelsea. You know, it's a massive London derby. The fans love it. They're up for it. I know fans won't be there, but it's just tough. I don't know. I hate to be pessimistic, but I do think it's going to be like a 1-1, 2-2, something like that. Who knows? Just injuries apply to this team, my friend. It's just nobody's fully fit, and you're sacrificing guys just to play them for the sake of playing them because you have no one else. So I do think it's going to be really tough, and I think we're going to draw it. Obviously, we want to win, but a little bit pessimistic on this one.
I'll take a draw. Honestly, I don't know how we win against these guys. Is it home or away? Are we at home?
Australia. I don't know.
It'll be tough either way. I'll be happy with the draw, to be honest, with the form that we have, and hopefully we get Ziyech back for Arsenal, and we'll come back stronger after that. Hopefully Cho is back as well for that Arsenal game. And man, I'm not utterly confident, man. I'm really nervous now off the back of the last two games, how lackluster we've been. I honestly thought the match against Everton was just an uncharacteristic sort of outing. I just thought, they'll come back strong against Wolves. But, whoa, they did the same thing against Wolves. Back again.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Would say from Arsenal, back again. They did that on us. So, that's pretty much it. Kamal, thank you so much for joining, man. We had a lot of fun here. Hope everyone got a lot of, good content out of that. Thank you heaps for joining. Thank you to each and every single one of you guys that have been joining in and now throughout this, commenting left, right, and center. Some funny comments as well, some great comments as well. Thank you heaps for that. Please smash that like button if you're here. Hit that like button. It helps us out a lot, helps the channel out. And we'll be back again with Brown Excellence next week. Hopefully the guys are here again. Yeah, everyone, take care. See ya.
Peace out.